This video shows you how to do sketch constraints, creating letters. So the first step is go to Onshape, hit create to create a new document. Once you're in here, you can name it your name and maybe letters after it. So the first thing you need to do is create a sketch on a sketch plane. So you click the sketch button and pick your plane. I would suggest the front plane for this. And now you can hit the N key, or you can pick the front plane over here in the view cube so that you're looking straight onto your sketch. And now whatever letter you wanted to pick, you will click the line tool and always start on the origin. You'll understand why later, but let's just start there. And you can see it tells you roughly how big your letters are going to be. So if I come out here, that means my letter is going to be almost 3 inches wide, which we don't want. Let's make them roughly 1 inch tall. So maybe we make a letter, and I'm making it a T here. So let's say it's around 0.2. And now I'm going to go up and just draw it really roughly what you think it should look like. And that looks pretty awkward for a T. Maybe I can come in and change, whoops, I'm still in that line tool. Now I can click this and drag it if I want. And that's all it takes to draw your first letter. So I'm going to stop here, and then I'll pick up with constraining the sketch. So this is just to create a rough sketch. Okay, so now to actually constrain this letter, you're going to need to go back into the sketch, and you need to come up with whatever geometric constraints are needed to fully constrain this. The reason you want it to be fully constrained is so that nothing can move in your sketch and everything is where it is intended to be. So you need to look through these constraints and decide which you might need. So the first thing I can think of is I know this line should be exactly opposite that one, or on the same line, you can say. So I'm going to say coincident. And that's like saying make 2 lines on the same line. The other thing I can think of is I would like these 2 points to be equal. And I also want it to be the same length as this so that my letter has the same thickness throughout. Now, as far as the size goes, if you want it to be 1 inch tall, now you have to add a dimension, a numeric dimension to the sketch. So you would want to come over here and click the arrow. And now I'm going to pick the top line and the bottom line, or whatever bounds your letter. And you can see I haven't placed the dimension number down. So now if I click again, that will place it down, and I want it to be 1 inch. So I'm just going to type a 1. And the reason it's still blue, as you can see, everything as I add more dimensions changes the sketch from blue to black. And ideally, at the end of this, everything is going to be black. So now what you can do is dimension across the way so that the width of the letter is defined. So I'm going to say 0.25 to make it look decent. And you can see this is where it becomes apparent that you need a few more sketch constraints on this sketch. So one thing you could do is make the midpoint of this line be vertically coincident with the midpoint of this line. That's a little bit more difficult to do, though. It takes a couple steps because you'd have to set up a construction line. So another option that you could do is use the equal constraint and make this line the same length as that line. Now, obviously, this is a little too thin. You don't have to hit undo here, though. What happens is we just need another numeric dimension. So I'm going to click the dimension tool and set the width of this to, let's say, 1/4 inch. And it actually turns out that my lines did cross each other, which I was concerned about. So I am actually going to hit undo on this one. And let's set this dimension now before we get messed up by that size. I'm just going to call it 0.2 right now. And now, hopefully, if I hit the equal tool, there we go. And the reason for that was it wasn't sure which number it was supposed to keep as good. And since we allowed this to be so small, it actually overlapped this across that. So now you can see the sketch is fully constrained. Everything is black. The sizes are dimensioned. So you can go ahead and snip this image and call it constrained. So just make sure in your sketch you're not doing the T, because that's the one that I did. I want you to create your own. That's it for now.